My family celebrated when my business failed and posted, "She finally got what she deserved." 5 years later, I'm a multimillionaire and they're all working minimum wage jobs at companies I own. Please take a second to support our channel, hit subscribe and drop a comment saying where you're watching from. You're part of this story too. The notification sound pierced through my apartment at 2:47 a.m. I grabbed my phone thinking someone had died. In a way, something had. My cousin Tamara had tagged me in a Facebook post with a photo of my entire family. Aunts, uncles, cousins, even my own mother, raising champagne glasses. The caption read, "She finally got what she deserved. Karma came for that uppity girl." My boutique consulting firm had collapsed 3 days ago. I'd lost everything. My savings of $147,000, my apartment deposit, my car. At 28, I was moving back into my childhood bedroom with boxes of failure and a maxed-out credit card. But seeing them celebrate, that shattered something deeper than bankruptcy ever could. I scrolled through the comments. My Aunt Rochelle always thought she was better than us with her fancy degrees. Uncle Fabian, pride comes before the fall, baby girl. My mother, my own mother, had simply liked the post. No comment. Just a thumbs up to my public humiliation. My hands shook as I read my brother Darnell's comment. Tried to warn her. Family business wasn't good enough for Miss MBA. Now she's gonna learn. The post had 247 reactions. Every single one from family members I'd helped, supported, lent money to. I'd co-signed Tamara's car loan 2 years ago. He was still driving that Honda. 12 hours later, I stood in my childhood kitchen while Mama made breakfast like nothing happened. The smell of bacon usually comforted me. Now it made my stomach turn. I held up my phone. "You saw this, right?" She didn't even look up from the stove. "Baby, you know how Tamara is. She didn't mean nothing by it." "You liked it, Mama. You liked a post celebrating my failure." She finally turned, spatula in hand, her face hard. "What do you want me to say, Lillian? You walked around here acting like we wasn't good enough. Your daddy's construction business built this house, fed you, clothed you. But no, you had to go off and do your own thing. I wanted to build something. Is that wrong? You wanted to be better than us," she said coldly. "And look where it got you." That's when I understood. This wasn't about my business failing. This was about me trying to succeed in the first place. My family hadn't been waiting for me to rise. They'd been waiting for me to fall. And they'd been patient. The betrayal went deeper than I'd imagined. This was years in the making. I spent the next week in my old bedroom, avoiding everyone, scrolling through old photos and messages. Patterns emerged like fingerprints at a crime scene. Every achievement I'd celebrated, they'd diminished. My college graduation, Uncle Fabian, 4 years and a piece of paper. I make more in construction. My first promotion, Aunt Rochelle, corporate jobs ain't stable. Family business is forever. My engagement to Arturo, my ex-fiancé, cousin Tamara. He too good for you anyway. Then I found the group chat. Someone had accidentally added me 3 years ago to Real Family. I'd muted it and forgotten. Now I scrolled back, reading years of messages. They'd discussed every milestone of my life like a disease they hoped would cure itself. Tamara, when I'd gotten my MBA, she thinks she's Oprah now. Watch her crash. Uncle Fabian, when I started my firm, give her 6 months. She'll come crawling back. My brother Darnell, hope she saved some of that "I'm better than y'all" money for when she needs it. My mother, she'd sent a gif of someone falling. Nothing else. Just that. I'd lived my entire life surrounded by people who loved me conditionally, and the condition was failure. Sunday dinner was mandatory in our family. I'd skipped last week claiming I was sick. This week Mama called and said, "You better be here or don't bother coming back at all." So I went, dressed in my best outfit, armor disguised as Sunday clothes. The moment I walked in, the temperature dropped 20 degrees. Everyone was already seated. My usual spot had been taken by Tamara's new boyfriend, Trevor. "Oh," Mama said without looking at me, "sit at the end, baby." The end seat. The kids' seat. The visitors' seat. Message received. Uncle Fabian started immediately. "So, Lillian, what's your plan now? Your daddy's company is hiring laborers. Pays $15 an hour." Everyone laughed. Cousin Tamara chimed in through a mouthful of mac and cheese. "Girl, I saw they're hiring at Target. We could be co-workers. Like old times." More laughter. I cut into my chicken slowly, precisely. "I'm consulting independently. Building a new client base." Aunt Rochelle nearly choked. "Consulting? Baby, you just failed at that. Maybe it's time to be realistic." "Realistic like what? Like giving up?" My brother Darnell leaned back, smirking. "Like accepting you're not special." I left dinner early, angry tears streaming as I drove. My phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't answer. "Lillian Washington?" The voice was elderly, refined, familiar somehow. "This is Dorothy Stevens. I was your strategic management professor. I heard about your company. I'm sorry, dear, but I'm calling because I have a proposal." Professor Stevens had been my mentor, my toughest critic, and secretly my biggest supporter. She'd retired 2 years ago to Silicon Valley, where her daughter ran a venture capital firm. "I've followed your work. Your firm didn't fail because of bad strategy. It failed because your largest client went bankrupt and didn't pay you. That's not failure, that's bad luck. My daughter's firm invests in exactly your kind of resilience." "I'm broke, Professor. I'm living in my childhood bedroom. I have nothing left." "Wrong. You have experience, intelligence, and now you have something more valuable. You have nothing left to lose. That makes you dangerous in the best way. Come to San Francisco. I'll arrange meetings. But Lillian, this time build something bigger. Build something that can't collapse because of one client. Build an empire." The word empire echoed in my mind as I pulled over, crying. Not from sadness. From possibility. I didn't tell anyone I was leaving. At 4:37 a.m. on a Tuesday, I loaded my Honda Civic with 3 suitcases and my laptop. I'd sold everything else. Furniture, clothes, jewelry. I had $3,200 to my name and a one-way ticket to San Francisco via Wheels. Mama's light was off. Darnell's car sat in the driveway. I'd written no notes, sent no texts. They'd celebrated my destruction publicly. I'd rebuild my life privately. Fair exchange. The drive took 4 days. I slept in rest stops, ate gas station sandwiches, and listened to business podcasts on repeat. Somewhere in Nevada, I realized I wasn't running from my family. I was running toward myself. The person they'd tried to convince me I wasn't. Fitty. Too ambitious. Destined to fail. Every insult was an instruction manual written in reverse. Professor Stevens had arranged temporary housing, her daughter Vivian's guest house in Palo Alto. When I arrived, exhausted and probably smelling like cheap coffee, Vivian met me at the door. She was 35, sharp-eyed, wearing a Stanford hoodie. "Professor Stevens says you're worth the investment." I'll believe her. "But you've got 2 months to prove it." "Deal." "Deal," I said, shaking her hand. I had 60 days to build something from nothing. The pressure was crushing. It was also clarifying. Vivian's firm, Atlas Ventures, occupied the 10th floor of a building that probably cost more than my entire hometown. She introduced me to 3 other entrepreneurs they'd invested in, all rebuilding from spectacular failures. "Failure is data," Vivian said during our first meeting. "Your business model was sound. Your execution was excellent. Your risk management needed work. One catastrophic client loss shouldn't destroy a firm. So we're going to build you something diversified, scalable, and anti-fragile. For 16 hours a day I worked. I analyzed my previous failure with surgical precision, identifying every weakness, every assumption, every place I'd been naive. My new company, Elevation Consulting Group, would serve 20 small clients instead of 3 large ones. We'd offer subscription-based services instead of project-based. We'd build proprietary software instead of relying on third-party tools. Most importantly, we'd target an underserved market, minority-owned businesses seeking operational optimization. By week 3, I had my first client, a Black-owned logistics company in Oakland paying $2,000 monthly. By week 6, I had 7 clients and had hired my first employee, Roy, a 23-year-old Stanford dropout who coded faster than anyone I'd ever met. By week 8, I had 15 clients and $30,000 in monthly recurring revenue. Vivian approved our series of funding, $500,000 for 20% equity. I'd just become a funded CEO. I didn't call home. For 8 months I was a ghost to my family. They didn't call me either, which told me everything. My social media went dark. No posts, no updates, no digital breadcrumbs. Let them assume I'd failed completely, disappeared into irrelevance. The silence was strategic. I was building something they couldn't mock until it was too large to deny. Elevation Consulting Group grew explosively. By month 10 we had 63 clients, 12 employees, and had expanded into 3 cities. By month 14, we developed proprietary AI-driven analytics software that revolutionized how small businesses optimized operations. By month 18, Fortune 500 companies started calling. Microsoft wanted a pilot program. Google requested a meeting. My little consulting firm built from spite and survival was becoming an industry disruptor. Then the acquisitions started. A struggling logistics company I'd consulted for was going under. I bought it for $200,000, restructured it, and flipped it for $1.2 million within 6 months. Then a commercial cleaning company. Then a staffing agency. I wasn't just consulting anymore. I was building a portfolio of businesses, each one another brick in my empire. Professor Stevens called it strategic revenge capitalism. I called it Tuesday. My net worth hit 7 figures on a random Thursday afternoon. I was in a meeting when our CFO slid me a note. Portfolio valuation, $2.1 million. Congratulations, boss. I didn't celebrate. I just scheduled more acquisition meetings. Year 3, I made a decision that my therapist, yes, I had a therapist now because building empires while processing family trauma requires professional help, called either brilliant or self-destructive. I was expanding Elevation Consulting Group to my hometown, Richmond, Virginia. Not because it was strategic, because it was necessary. I'd become successful in Silicon Valley, but I needed to succeed where they'd predicted I'd fail. I needed them to see it. We opened a regional headquarters in downtown Richmond, a gleaming office space in a renovated tobacco warehouse. 23 employees, all local hires. We immediately began consulting for Richmond-based businesses and acquiring struggling local companies. A family-owned catering company drowning in debt? Acquired, restructured, profitable within 4 months. A small construction firm losing contracts to bigger competitors? Acquired, modernized, doubled revenue in 6 months. That construction company? It competed directly with my father's business. I didn't plan it. The opportunity simply presented itself. Business is business. My regional director, Shanice, a brilliant 32-year-old Howard graduate, sent me the quarterly report. We're dominating the mid-sized commercial construction contracts. Several legacy companies are struggling to compete. including, well, your father's company. I stared at the spreadsheet showing Washington and Sons Construction losing contract after contract to my subsidiary. Poetic? Yes. Intentional? Not entirely. Satisfying? Absolutely. The call came from Darnell. First contact in 3 years. Lillian, we need to talk. It's about Dad's business. I didn't respond immediately. Let him sweat. Finally, what about it? It's failing. We're losing contracts. Can't figure out why. Mama said maybe you'd know some consultants or something. You still doing that consultant thing? The audacity. The absolute audacity. I'm doing fine, Darnell. Thanks for asking after 3 years. Silence. Then, look, we need help. Family helps family. I laughed. Actually laughed. Family helps family. Where was family when I needed help? When y'all were celebrating my failure on Facebook. That was Tamara being Tamara. We didn't mean. Darnell, every single person liked or commented on that post. Mama liked it. You commented. Don't revise history. People make mistakes, Lillian. You really gonna hold a grudge? No grudge. Just boundaries. Tell Dad I wish him well. But I can't help. I hung up. My hands were shaking, but not from anger. From power. The power of saying no. The power of watching consequences unfold naturally. The power of not saving people who'd celebrated my drowning. Shanice knocked on my office door. Boss, Washington and Sons just lost another major contract. To us. I know, I said. Submit the proposal for the Jefferson Avenue project too. That's their biggest remaining contract. I know. The Richmond Business Journal's annual 40 Under 40 ceremony was held at the Omni Hotel. I'd been selected but had initially declined. Vivian convinced me otherwise. You're hiding. Stop hiding. Let them see what they lost. So I attended wearing a custom navy suit that cost more than my first car, accompanied by my boyfriend Julian, a corporate attorney I'd met at a fundraiser who looked like Idris Elba's younger, taller brother. The moment I walked in, I felt eyes. Whispers. Recognition dawning on faces I'd known my whole life. The program listed my bio. Lillian Washington, 31, founder and CEO of Elevation Consulting Group. Portfolio valuation $8.7 million. Oversees 127 employees across 8 cities. During my acceptance speech, I kept it professional. Thanked mentors, employees, investors. No family mentions. That absence spoke volumes. Afterward, the networking portion, I was surrounded by Richmond's business elite. And then I saw them. Uncle Fabian, Aunt Rochelle, and Cousin Tamara, dressed in their Sunday best, hovering near the hors d'oeuvres like they'd crashed a party they weren't invited to. Which they had. This was a ticketed event. Expensive tickets. Uncle Fabian approached first, big smile, arms open. Lillian. Baby girl. We didn't know you were back in town. Look at you. I stepped back before he could hug me. Uncle Fabian. My voice was ice. His smile faltered. Tamara tried next, tears already forming. Girl, I've missed you so much. We all have. I'm so sorry about that Facebook thing. I was going through. Don't, I said simply. Just don't. They found me in the hotel lobby. All of them. Mama, Darnell, Uncle Fabian, Aunt Rochelle, Tamar, even cousins I barely remembered. A family ambush, orchestrated with the same energy they'd used to celebrate my failure. Mama spoke first, her voice breaking. Baby, we need to talk. Can we go somewhere private? No. Say what you need to say here. Lillian, please. We're family. You keep using that word. I don't think it means what you think it means. Darnell stepped forward, angry now. You really gonna act like this? We raised you, fed you, loved you. You loved me conditionally. And the condition was that I fail. When I succeeded, I became the enemy. That's not true, Mama said, crying now. We were just surprised. You changed. Got all corporate and distant. I changed. Or I grew. And you couldn't stand watching me outgrow the limitations you'd accepted for yourselves. The lobby had gone quiet. Other attendees were watching. Good. Let them watch. You celebrated my business failing. Publicly. You made it a party. Champagne glasses and everything. Tamara sobbed. I was jealous, okay? You had everything, the education, the confidence, the opportunities. I felt left behind. So you tore me down instead of building yourself up. That's not my problem, Tamara. That's yours. Uncle Fabian tried a different approach. Look, baby, we messed up. We're sorry. But we're struggling now. Your daddy's business. Tamara lost her job. Rochelle's behind on her mortgage. We need help. Family helps family. And there was the youth. I looked at each of them. Really looked. Saw the desperation, the entitlement, the complete lack of accountability. They weren't sorry. They were broke. There's a difference. Here's what's going to happen, I said, my voice steady. Nothing. You get nothing from me. No money, no jobs, no connections. You made your choices. You celebrated my destruction. Now you get to experience the consequences of your cruelty. You're being vindictive, Darnell said. No. I'm being consistent. You taught me that family celebrates each other's failures. I'm just returning the energy. So you're just gonna let your family suffer? Aunt Rochelle asked. The way you let me suffer? Yes. Exactly like that. Mama grabbed my arm. I'm your mother, Lillian. I gave birth to you. You owe me. I removed her hand gently but firmly. I owed you respect, love, and gratitude. I gave all of that. You owed me support, belief, and protection. You gave me mockery. For even now, actually I'm ahead. Because I survived your betrayal and became successful anyway. You're only failing because you bet against me instead of building with me. I turned to leave, then stopped. One final thought. By the way, Washington and Sons Construction is losing contracts to one of my companies. Darnell, Tamara, you're both applying to jobs at businesses I own. I've flagged your applications. You'll never work for me. But you'll always know you could have if you'd just been kind. Julian took my hand. We walked out together. Behind me, I heard Mama crying, Uncle Fabian cursing, Tamara pleading. I didn't look back. 5 years after they celebrated my destruction, I'd rebuilt an empire. They'd built nothing but regrets. Sometimes the best revenge isn't cruelty. It's success they can see but never touch. It's becoming everything they said you'd never be. I didn't destroy my family. They destroyed themselves the moment they chose schadenfreude over support. I just refused to save them from consequences they'd earned. And honestly, I slept better than I had in years.